I think you guys all know I love my Ingenuity Precision Trickler that goes with my Auto Trickler, and I really haven't had any complaints with it. But a gentleman I know, his name's Kurt, he's actually the one that does a lot of the design work for, or actually I think he does all the design work for Accuracy One, so he does the tipping gauges and the trimmers and all that stuff. We were on the phone the other day, and he goes, hey, I'm going to send you something new to beta test. And it showed up, and don't worry, you guys are going to get to see that hopefully in the next couple weeks, and it's freaking amazing. But along with it, there was a little baggie, and it had a little spring in it, and he goes, call me, I need to talk to you about this. So we were on the phone today, and you're not going to believe what this little spring does. So if you have an Ingenuity, you know that this unit here easily comes apart, and this has a little ball bearing under here that puts pressure on the plate, especially with ball powders. It helps push the ball down so that it drops properly. But there's nothing behind it, right? So if you've ever turned your Ingenuity, and I need to actually do something here real quick. If you've ever tried turning your Ingenuity, and I'm going to take the, spoiler alert, there's a spring in there. I'm just going to put the ball bearing. So this little screw right here, there's a ball bearing that just drops in, and it just sits right there, and it's just gravity, held in place by gravity. So this tube is largely empty. And under normal conditions, like I can't really complain, except that when you try to feed one kernel, it's really tough. Like you can hear, okay, that's the ball bearing spinning, or that's the plate spinning under the ball bearing. But it's a little tough because there's no pressure being applied to the plate. So as you're turning this, sometimes you can turn 2 or 3 kernels on accident if you're trying to like trickle something. So what he figured out is if you take out this little set screw that's on top, okay, and watch your ball bearing. So you drop the ball bearing back in if it falls out. Okay, so there's this little hole right there. And you go find yourself a spring that fits. And you can go to Ace Hardware. They tend to have a really good assortment of springs. I'm trying to find my calipers. Here we go. So you need to find a spring, and you can just take the trickler with you, but if you're looking, you need a spring that measures 0.945 diameter and non-compressed, approximately, well, a 1-inch spring would do it just fine. It's just a hair over an inch, but a 1-inch spring basically is all you need. So 1 inch by 0.945, or if you're metric, 2.41 millimeters by, I think it's 24.5, roughly, 25 millimeters, give or take. So what you're going to do is you're going to go find one of those springs. And if you don't keep dropping it like an idiot like me, because I seem to have bumble fingers right now. Yeah, I'm sitting down here on the ground trying to pull this thing out of a crack. Okay. So now you can take the spring, drop it down in there. You're going to put this set screw back on top. Okay, and you don't need to apply much pressure. So I'm just going to screw this in till it goes flush, and then you can kind of play with it on how it feels. So do you hear how much louder that is already? And I'm gonna give it like another quarter turn here. All right, so that's a lot louder, and you can really feel. And you don't have to put a ton of pressure on it. Like I'm just a little below flush right now, but when it's sitting here and you've got some powder in it, okay, so now let's just zero this. So there's 0. Now it's a very deliberate clunk, 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 clunk as this goes through. So let me turn till powder drops. So So there's 34. Okay, now keep in mind, my kernels could be 2 to 4/10 of a grain. So 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56. So you can see that you can just keep clicking one kernel at a time. And it doesn't have any effect on the actual spinning of it. It's just a very light spring, and it's just providing a little pressure on that ball bearing. So just a really simple trick. If you've been playing around with this and you want the ability to just have a little bit more feel on the manual wheel, go get yourself a little spring, throw it in there. You'll be good to go. Anyway, hope this little tip helps. Have a good one. We'll talk later.